Video games aren't like most mediums. With things such as movies and TVs, the creators don't have the advantage of their audience being able to interact with the world they are trying to build. No matter how well a video game character is crafted, there is still you playing. Through all the Joe Millers and Arthur Morgans, they are intended as a vessel for the player. Remember back when you were a kid, and your imagination would allow you to take yourself to different worlds and be something else, perhaps from your favourite movie or TV show? Well, in a sense, video games personify that, and now you have these grand sprawling open worlds with interesting designs and concepts, such as fantasy, cyberpunk, cowboys, which can now appeal to that nagging part of your brain that still wants to escape to be a cowboy or a pirate. The imagination that a video game map can bring to life is astounding. It's probably why I loved these stunning games like Mario Galaxy as a kid, as the sandbox became a fucking redundant compared to slingshotting from one planet to another like Buzz Lightyear. And the point I'm trying to make is that infinite era inspiring black sheet in the background waiting to be explored was something that was quite inspiring. This magic, paired with the fact that in a lot of games you can go to interesting places or interact with objects and buildings and surroundings in the level you're playing, mean that game makers can make a setting that someone is able to enter, which is why it's important that maps and levels have some competence behind their design. But before that, we're going to take it back. October 1958. A cheeky chap with an even cheekier name by the name of William Higginbottom creates what is thought to be the very first video game map, which was a table tennis game. Now I have a quote here. Players could turn a knob to adjust the angle of the ball and push the button to hit the ball towards the other player. If they pressed the button when the ball was in their court, players couldn't miss the ball. But if they hit it at the wrong time or hit it at the wrong angle, the ball wouldn't make it over the net, which is basically just the rules of table tennis, but still. But if we wanted a proper starting point, then we could look at Pong. The map is black, there's just 3 lines and a ball, and now obviously Pong was a big success because not only was it one of the most potent things ever developed, the map and the level, if you can even call it that, is just perfect for what the game is. It's no more, it's no less than what it needs to be. Nothing could be added to this to improve Pong. When you look at something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you have a massive open map. I know I'm jumping from fucking Pong to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but hear me out. But everything is copy and pasted, or it's locked behind levels, which makes you play the boring filler side quests, which isn't good game design, and it goes against everything a map should be. In these games, unlike something like Pong, which, yeah, might be an unfair comparison, but it works for what it needs to do. When a few lines and a Pong ball are enough to make a game work, that says everything about video games. Now, like I said, Pong couldn't exactly been an open world ray tracing masterpiece. However, when you look at something like this and something like Tetris, the games are immortal because of their level design work. I know this video is titled Why Video Game Maps Are Beautiful, but I'm also leaning into levels as well, because they kind of go hand in hand. The point I'm trying to make, this little metaphor I'm trying to provide and construct here, is that not all maps need to be like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They could take from Pong and Tetris and be simplistic and take what they need to take. Honestly, I'd compare something like The Last of Us, which is just a base level. It's not open world, but everything is there that needs to be there. Everything you can interact with is there. It's not simplistic in the sense that it's boring or dull, but it's simplistic in that it's not overly intricate like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla map. The general consensus nowadays is better graphics, bigger world. But when you have a game like Assassin's Creed, which wants to be Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of size without the delicate care and attention required, you get copy and paste missions. And while the map does look amazing, especially from a historical standpoint, hell, when the Notre Dame burnt down, Ubisoft's 3D render of the structure was used to help rebuild it, there's just something that feels empty about it. I will now use a modern day comparison to make it a bit fairer, Red Dead Redemption 2. This game might have my favourite map of all time. It's beautiful, open, interesting, and spoilers here, spoilers, skip to the timestamp. If I can be bothered to put a timestamp, if I can't, there'll just be an amusing image of a frog or, I don't know, just something. I don't know if I could, we'll just see what we... The map evolves over time, like a real world. This point, not really a map, it's more of a real life simulator for the 1800s. This is one of the few games where the map is perfect. I can't think of a single thing wrong with it, apart from maybe New Austin in the later game, which does feel a bit empty, I'll admit. But the part of the map that they took time to be precise and craft newly is astounding, and it's a beautiful video game map, and other devs wish that they could make something on this level. The beauty of this map is that I feel like I'm in a real breathing world, and this works with this specific map and the game. I honestly feel that this is the most revolutionary video game map we've ever seen. Now, while this map is amazing, not all video game maps need to be sprawling. Take Spider-Man 2018, for example. The actual world is nowhere near the intricate levels of Red Dead Redemption 2, but Spider-Man manages to be perfect for what it is. The biggest fun in any Spider-Man game is the traversal, so the team at Insomniac obviously thought, well, if man swings from building, key aspect is building. The impressive recreation of Manhattan is certainly not simple. It manages to be accurate in a sense and filled with things to find, and while it's not the same size as Red Dead Redemption 2 or even the same amounts of detail, the map is built to account for the Spider-Man traversal system, and it does this perfectly. Going back to Red Dead Redemption 2 again, a key part of any map is the minimap, as well as the physical maps, which we don't seem to get anymore. In the case of physical maps, if the map is built accurately, the player can use the physical map for extra immersion, like the fucking Indiana Jones or some shit. Flashback again to the NES. The Legend of Zelda, one of the first NES games to feature a map. Individual dungeons had their own map. You had a mini-map in the top right, which would spark the traditional use of the mini-map in future games. This meant you didn't have to pause or stop. You can have a quick access to information, and in some games, this can act as like a GPS system, or you can change the mini-map to be something like a compass. Coordinates can be used at the top of the screen instead of a mini-map. Maps are also a key aspect in progression, and are able to see where you've been and explored rather than where you need to go. It's also a gameplay feature that works. Resident Evil springs to mind with this concept, but Doom is a good example here. You can toggle between the maps and the gameplay like you have some sort of sci-fi ability to check your location. It's more of a pop-up than anything. You could look at the map while navigating, which was an interesting but suspenseful way to use the map, as it impedes on the gameplay and it covers your screen while you're in intense fight-off, meaning you have to use it strategically. And this kind of makes it the opposite of the minimap, which is there more for convenience. At the end of the day, a shit map will ruin a game. These garbage Ubisoft games that are churned out every year are a prime example of this. Maps should act to immerse a player into experience to the point of the map being its own character, and it brings out something in a game that some games aren't capable of. If you enter a world and you feel like you're in some sort of 3D map with no imagination or an uninspired grind, the game becomes a chore, a slog. Only when a map becomes a world can you call a video game map a good map, and from then you get a good game. Take for example a movie, right? The setting and world building can be kinda cool. Got that Lord of the Rings type beat going on. But you can't simply walk into Mordor, light a Molotov, and watch people flee their houses as I burn their lives' work to the ground. A video game allows you to do that and shape what happens in the world, and a world doesn't need to be open for this. Storytelling. When we take a game like Skyrim or Dark Souls, maps can be a big part of pushing storytelling in a game. In the sense of Dark Souls, the storytelling is mostly environmental. The way these levels and maps are constructed build a story that changes as the player progresses, which is beautiful. This means that Dark Souls doesn't have to cram story and dialogue into making an interesting game. The world building and the map does this for it. After watching the opening cutscene, you get to progress through the world that you've just been introduced to, and you as the player must uncover the secrets and reveal the story for yourself. And all of that is entirely because of the map. You see, a good map becomes its own memorable character. And slight spoilers here for Dark Souls, like a 10-year-old game, slight spoilers. But at a certain point in the game, you end up realizing that the map entirely links. You open up secret paths and it clicks. The map is linked together and you understand this world a bit better. And most importantly, you get... Immersion is one of those cookie-cutter, throwaway gaming jargon words that's used in about every video about gaming, every review about gaming ever. So when I talk about immersion, it's probably something you've all heard before. So what is there to say about immersion? Well, it's not easy to achieve. A map isn't the only part of immersion. Audio, dialogue, graphics, controls can all affect immersion. So a map's part to play in creating immersion is to create an engaging, lived-in world, a world that can be affected by the player. A world does not need to be open to be free, and while I'm kind of trying to be philosophical and look smart by saying that, there's some reasoning behind it. When you take something like Uncharted, this is a linear game. The game leans into the levels rather than a huge open map, but never once during the game do I feel like I'm trapped. This sort of game is more about immersing you into the level that feels fluid and works with the gameplay, story and set pieces to make a fun game. A lot of video game companies feel the need to make their games open world, as it is a very popular genre of games. Lots of people buy a game once they hear it's open world, and this is why there's been an influx of open world games in the past few years. But what about when an open world gets it right? Oh wow! But when an open world gets it right, we start to circle back to the title of this video. I got in touch with Videotheque, a popular content creator on Twitter, and well, he's kind of a I'd say he's a bit of a friend. He's a bit of a friend. Enough flex there. As a fellow fan of video games, I wondered what video games meant to him. In general, how do you feel a video game map affects the quality of a game overall? Can a bad map ruin a game, for example? It depends. I've seen many titles across many development studios repurposing building assets to largen the game world, which often creates a sense of repetitiveness and heavily impacts the immersion experience for the end user. What is your favourite video game map? Rockstar Games have always been the masters at creating one of the best and detailed, breathtaking, lively worlds to date in the gaming industry. In 2018, Red Dead 2 pushed the boundaries of open world exploration and player immersion with path nodes for NPCs and animals and scenarios to create the most immersive world to date. In addition, Grand Theft 4's Liberty City is considered my favourite GTA map. Rockstar somehow managed to make Liberty City feel like a real version of New York. NPCs would properly react to rain and other weather effects. The map felt huge, but looked smaller on paper and had a huge staggering number of interiors to explore across the map. And Liberty City Subway felt incredibly immersive with a massive host of subway stations scattered across the entire map. Moreover to GTA 5, Rockstar fell short with Los Santos. Of course the map is fantastic with a huge variety of places to explore, but it felt like Rockstar opted for quantity over quality with NPCs. Not properly reacting to weather effects, and the attention to detail in comparison to Liberty City doesn't really feel like an upgrade in a way. What does a map mean to you? It must include the highest attention to detail as possible with lore and a purpose. Exploration is key to the end user and encouraging them to explore. Favourite parts about the map? Red Dead 2's Saint Denis and Valentine. Both districts of the game are immensely meaningful to the game. Let's say this game had a map that wasn't that good. Do you think that the game would suffer greatly? I wasn't a fan of Cyberpunk 2077's Night City map. It just didn't seem like it was handled with care. Lots of places have proper decors. Many parts of the game are too clean and lack proper AO and shading. Can a good map save a bad game? Yes, definitely. Can a game be good without a good map? Sure. Big thanks to Videotech for helping me out with this video. Go follow him on Twitter, I'll leave a link in the description. Honestly, big thanks, go follow him on Twitter, he's a great guy. Video game maps offer an opportunity for developers to take gaming to the next level with storytelling, immersion and gameplay, and that's why maps are so important. If you think back to your favourite map, it was almost an escape to another world, and that's something that no other medium could really accomplish in the same way. A good map, and the beauty of a video game map, is that you can escape from the dread of the real world. As well as this, the levels on the map you play enhance the experience and captivate an audience's attention. When you find secrets and uncover hidden areas and beautiful landscapes, it can save you from that dreary job. The escape and adventure a map can build is like nothing in any other medium. Sure, you've seen some disabled Americans go to Pandora, but have you ever ran over an innocent pedestrian? Or had the view of a new adventure from well-crafted pixels in the comfort of your own home? A good game map won't just save a game, it can save you. Thanks for watching. And please do follow me on Twitter. Please do. It helps out a lot. I can announce when I'm maybe streaming or got a new video uploaded. And also, if my tweets get likes, it doesn't make me feel like shit when they don't, because I get like 0 likes. I got like 19 followers, so if we can reach like, I don't fucking know, like 20, that'd be great. Please go follow me on Twitter. Please subscribe, like.